We're back. Okay. Well, that's part of it. And okay. Can you guys hear me? Give me a quick chat. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you see me? There we go. All right. Great. Okay. So thank you, Dhruv. Appreciate it. So welcome to Workout Wednesday, week 26. We're halfway through the year. It's very exciting. This week is I got my, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see here. There we go. So one of my favorite shirts, take 2 pills and call me in the morning, discreet and continuous. It's my Tableau Doctor shirt. I love this shirt. It's great. And it's especially cool today because we've got a great, challenge today. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be dealing with. Here we go. There we are. So we're going to be doing the dynamic relative filter. So a relative date filter in Tableau is really cool. It's really powerful. I've always enjoyed it, but it's always kind of irked me because it's developer dependent on inputting a date. You're either subject to everything being anchored to today, whatever today is, or it can be hard coded by the developer, but it doesn't change, right? So let's so now with parameter actions and dynamic parameters, we can now use the relative date filter to be able to do all this. So that's what we're doing today. So let's take a look at the final example of what we're going to do. So we've got date precision, selected date precision here. So with day, week, month, quarter, year. And then we have the relative date filter, which we're going to recreate to look as close to. We can't do it exactly, but we're going to do it as closely as possible to recreate this in Tableau. So this is kind of the UI. So you've got your date precision up here. So you want to do it at the quarter level, the month or we want the look back periods, right? The periods, this is the year, quarter, month, week, or day. Do you want to look at last, this, or next? You can input your anchor date here, or you can do a custom period look back, next, last, or you can do quarter to date or period to date. So as you can see, I've got it selected on month, but you can see here on the anchor date, if I go here and I change this to my birthday, which is August 24th, you can see here that the view changes to show that, right? When I say this quarter, anchor date of 8/24, what happens is we're seeing all of this quarter, all of the quarter, right? All of the quarter that this anchor date falls into, and that's quarter 3, and that runs from July to September. So July through September. So as you can see here, we have July, and we're at the week level. So that's why you see that, because it's truncated to the week, all the way through the truncation of the end of the month. So that's what we've got there. If I do next quarter from with an anchor date of 8/24, it's going to show me all of Q4, which is October through December. Likewise, if I am at next quarter and then I select quarter to date, I'm going to see the week of the beginning of the quarter through the week of whatever date I've selected, right? So that's kind of what we can, and that's kind of what we're going to do, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, so I've already connected to Superstore data here. And what I'm going to do is I know that I'm only going to be concerned with order date and sales. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of this other stuff because I don't need it. I don't want it in the way. I want this to be very clean. Get rid of our hierarchies. Remove hierarchy, hide, remove the set, sales, we'll collapse our, there we go. Okay, get rid of these parameters. If you use the Excel file from data.world, you probably don't have all of this stuff, so you don't have to worry about the extra parameters and sets. But here's what we're going to do. So get rid of our show me. So the first thing that we're going to do, that we need to do, is we need to bring in a secondary data source, right? And that secondary data source is going to act as the driver for all of these parameter actions. So what I've done is created, just go in and bring in a, let's see here. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So I've created an Excel file. I've just called it dynamic relative here. So I have date parts. All right. So year, quarter, month, week, day. This will also work if you have times. So if you have date times, so this can work across any data source that has dates in it, right? But we're just using Superstore because it's easy. But if you wanted to do all the way down to the minute and hour, you could do that as well, right? And then I have this PNF period sheet. And I call that PNF because it's past, now, future. Past, now, future, right? So previous, now, future, last, next, and then to date, right? And so that kind of takes and the way that I kind of set that up, so I have, last, now, next, previous, next, and to date, right? And then here are my date parts. And I've only included up to day because in Superstore we don't have hour and minute. We don't have date times, right? So I have got that, saved that. So let's go ahead and bring that into our workbook as well. So it's an Excel file. It is on it is, where is it? Oh, here we go. Desktop. There it is. Yes. Here we go. Desktop. Bring that in. Now, these are separate sheets. So we'll bring one in, and I could bring these in as separate data sources, but with relationships, we can bring them in together into one, and we don't need to worry about it. So I'm going to bring this in, get a noodle. It's going to look really weird, but all I'm going to do is do down here, we're going to do a relationship. Bring in my relationship window. Just do a 1 here. relationship here, 1 here. So now there's a 1 on each side. So now now whenever I go into my sheet, you'll see I've got both my data sources here, right? So let's start building this out. So we've got date part here. I'm going to put date part up here. I'm going to remove hour and minute. So we'll exclude those, and day, week, month, quarter, year. And actually what I think I'm going to do is flip those around. So we'll have year at the top, then year there, then we'll put month there, and we'll drop there. So that's how we want it. Year, quarter, month, date, day. Drag this to text. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add empty text right here. And that's going to add that's going to add dividers here. And the reason I want dividers here is because I'm going to change my mark type to a square. Now, if I don't have this, let's look at this. All right, so this is what we have right now. And I want these squares to take up the entire space. I don't want it to be just like this. What I want them to do is I want them to be using up the whole space, right? Now, here's the problem with that. See how, I don't know if you can see it. We'll see. Yes, so you can see how we've got, see how the marks are actually larger than the blocks where it says year? That's not really a good user interface, right? That's not really a good user experience. So by adding this empty text up here, we are forcing dividers, right? And so now with the size of the squares marked all the way up, they're taking up the entire space, all right? So do a little formatting here. We'll align them to the center. And I'm ready to create my first parameter. And the first parameter is, this is p date part, right? Yeah, p date part. It's going to be a string field. Current value will start with the day. No, we'll start with month or quarter. Let's do quarter. Why not? Quarter, current value when it opens. Yes, that looks good. Okay, so now we have our p date part. And now what I need to do is I need to evaluate. I need to create a calculation to evaluate this field that I have brought in, this date part field, and compare it to the date part parameter. So that's going to be the date part check. And that's just date part equal p date part. Now when I do that, I'm going to drag this on, I'm going to drag that up to color. All right, and there we go. So now we have different colors here. This looks like a great time to make sure that our parameter actions are working. So let's do workbook, change parameter value on all, on sheet 1 for our target parameter is date part, the source field is date part, no aggregation, and we'll keep the current value. So now what'll happen is when I click on month, it changes to orange, or week, it changes to orange. Whatever I've selected changes to orange. Now you see how it dithers everything out. I don't necessarily want that anymore because I have the color to indicate that. So if you are new to this, this is one of the greatest tricks in the book, is how to stop that mark highlight action. And that's really simple. That's just we'll do a 1, and we'll call this 1. We'll duplicate this, but instead of 1 copy, we'll call it 0, and we'll enter that as 0. Now the next thing we need to do is convert these to dimensions, and then we'll just drag them both on detail. And we'll come back to that later. So anyway, let's keep, so now we can go ahead and turn off our tooltips because we're not going to need that. And let's stay with our quarter here. And we'll call this date precision. All right. And let's go ahead and clean up the form. Let's clean up some formatting while we're here. Like that. We will format this. We'll add some really large white. Not there. It doesn't look like. Is it here? White? Nope. I always struggle with this one. Is it here? White. Yeah, I think that's it. Header, we'll do white just to make sure. And header white. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, so just do a little bit of formatting there, nothing too crazy. Let's go ahead and change our colors while we're here too. We want false to be white. So we'll go here on RGB and we'll add white. And then we want true to be kind of a grayscale. So maybe we'll do that. Click apply. Now everything goes away. And that's great. Oh yeah, the next thing. Oh yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so that's where it's at. So it's here on borders. We don't need any of these. We can get rid of that. Okay. What we do is we do it here, right? So row dividers, we don't need any row dividers, so we'll take those off. But on our column dividers, we'll make these really large and white, right? And now you can see we've got space in between everything. So when I go to month, it's like that. All right, we'll come back to getting that deselection happening in just a minute. Okay, so that looks pretty good so far. Now let's work on, so that takes care of this part right up here. Okay, now we're going to work on these parts. And the reason that I'm doing this first and setting up all the parameter actions is because we need that. We're going to use those parameters to set the date filter that does all the cool stuff. So that's why we're doing it this way. All right. So next thing, let's create a new sheet. This one is going to be our. This one is going to be our last, now, next, future, LNF, last, now, future. I'm going to take my PNF period, here, and I'm going to drop it onto rows, right? Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do it like this. I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay? So future, last, next, now, previous to date. Okay? So the first one that I have, so let's do some, so the first time, this is the, so we're going to previous, next, so future, last, and now. That's what we're going to keep here, right? So these are last, now, next. And I'll do that. So they are sorted the right way. We are going to create a new parameter. It's going to be the P PNFTD. You can call it whatever you want. This is just what I've called it. Past, now, future, and to date. Right? That's what that stands for. The reason I'm going to do this with just one parameter, I'm going to create two sheets. Right? So what's interesting here is this side and this side are two different sheets. But if we think about this, we are never looking at this quarter and quarter to date. We're never looking at the last 4 quarters and the last quarter, right? So we can use one parameter action to drive all 6 of these, but we need them on separate sheets so that we can get them separate in the container. So this is a string field, and what do we want to do? Let's start it with now. Okay. Let's start it with now here. All right. So that looks good. Click OK. Now we need to bring that in. All right. So the first thing we need to do is I'm going to call this a PNF check. And that's PNF equals PNF period. And okay. Oh, that was the table. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so there you go. All right. So now what we'll do, so that's the first part, and that is very similar to what we did here, right? That's gonna do our highlight, but we're not gonna do it on. We're not gonna color the entire box. All right, we're gonna actually create radio buttons here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change this to a shape. We're gonna grab the PNF check to color. As you can see, that does that. We're gonna change the shapes. And we want, there we go. Well, PNF check, there should be, yeah, PNF check is true and false, so there should be, when I go to edit my shapes, there should be a true and a false here. So I am using the brand new version that just came out yesterday. So Tableau 2021 just came out. Okay. Oh, that's why. I put PNF only on color. The PNF check is only on color. PNF check also needs to be on shape. There we go. There we go. See? You just gotta... Okay, so I want the false to be... Yep, you're right. So Peter called it. Yep. So I need to... False is going to be an open circle, and true is going to be the filled circle. Now we'll go back here, we'll edit the colors, and we'll just go back to, we'll just do this gray color for both of them. All right. Now that takes care of the selection, but now what we need to do, this is where things get real fun, is we need to have some text over here, right? We need to have, and watch what happens whenever I select month. Last month, next month, this month, last quarter, this quarter, next quarter. So we need that to, we need text over here to update. So let's do the PNF check. Or PNF, I already did that. PNF text, that's what I meant. Let's see. That is going to be the, we'll do case, do case on PP&FD when now then this space close quote p date part when future then next p date part else last plus p date part end. All right, let's see if that works. So here we'll go here and we'll drop that onto label. Nope. This, oh. Duplicate. Let's see, show parameter quarter. Now oh no, let's see here. How did we do this? Because that's coming in as this quarter, this quarter, this quarter. So it been, and the reason because that is I asked that what that is. Oh, it's not on. It's not a case. It's not the case statement of the parameter. It's the case statement of the field. There we go. All right. Let's do fit width here. So now we've got that, right? So we've got next quarter, this quarter, last quarter, but I don't really like how this is showing up, right? I don't like how it's way over here. And even if I try to change the alignment here to be, even if I change the alignment, it's not going to work, right? So here is another fun little trick. We're going to do the old placeholder field. Admin1. See how that puts it right up against? So by adding a placeholder column, it takes that text and it puts it right next to the mark. This is what we want. All right, and let's see. Do I have, oh, I have last and next, so I need to flip this around. Edit, nope, not the filter. Edit the sort. No, not clear the sort. Edit the sort. Future is there, last is here. There we go. Okay, now let's do a little bit of formatting here. Let's make sure that we've got that. Let's remove all of our grid lines, all of our zero lines, and all of our axes rulers. Let's remove our header. Let's remove our tooltip. And there we have it. Okay. And then we'll go back to standard view. And now you can see it's kind of, and even now, it's still in the middle. What I really want is I want it all the way to the side. So how do we do that? Well, we need to show our header again, and we need to do a custom range, a fixed range. It's currently 0 to 0, right? But if I go to, but what if happens if I extend this to 0.5? See how it goes all the way over there? That's pretty cool, right? So now we'll go 0.2. All right, so now we're just playing around with, I think the way that I've done this in the past is we do like 0 to like 8. Nope, that's still, I still need to get this to negative 0.5. What's that bring it to? About 0.1, just barely. There we go. That looks better. I like that. Now we can show our header, and now it's right up against the right, and all this stuff over here doesn't matter, but we've manipulated it to get it to where we want it, right? Okay, so let's see here. Cool. All right. So the next thing we need to do, I think this is right. Let's go ahead and add, while we're here, let's do an action to make sure that this is right. Let's rename this first one. So this is date precision. And it says you're missing a field on LNF. That's fine. It won't work. I don't want it to work. So now we're going to change parameter, and this is going to be PNFTD. And the source sheet, the reason I'm doing this, you'll notice I'm doing a worksheet action, but then I'm changing the source sheets to the data source that I want to use it on, and then I'm unchecking that. And the reason that I'm doing that, and this is where this is a tip that I learned from Rosario, I believe it was, who first put this out. If you set your actions up this way, you can test your set actions and parameter actions on a worksheet. And by doing it on the data source, whenever you add this worksheet to a dashboard, you don't have to also then set up separate actions. This action will follow this worksheet wherever it goes. So in the old way that I used to do this, I would set up just a single sheet action. Then I would add this sheet to a dashboard, and that would like completely change the way that Tableau does interactivity. And I would have to recreate dashboard actions just to get it to work. So this way, it works. So that's a fun one. So anytime you want to test your interactivity for your set actions or your parameter actions, set up a sheet action, but then for source sheets, select the data source and then select the sheet here, and then that will go wherever you want. So really cool tip. Definitely use it a lot. Okay, so the source parameter here is that, and the source field is the PNF periods date, no aggregation, and keep current value. Let's make sure this is working. Yay! Now let's also make sure this is working. Let's go here and let's change this to month. I should see last month, this month, next month. This is working. Okay, this week, last week, but what happens when I do day? Last day, this day, next day. This day works, but I changed it to today. So this day works. It could work. I could make the argument that it works because we're doing a different anchor day. I think I actually, now that I'm speaking through this and teaching this, I think I actually like this day better as opposed to today, because today has a very specific connotation and meaning, and when you're mixing anchor dates, that could be different. So I'm going to leave it with this day. You could change it to anchor date or something like that, and it would work just fine. So I like this. I like this a lot. Okay, cool. So what are we going to do now? Oh yeah. So now we need to get into how are we doing on time? We're doing good. Yeah, 12:50. We're okay. This is going to be a little bit of a longer one, usually, but we've got a lot of setup to do before we actually get to what we need to do. Okay, so we've created this top header. We've created this. We haven't yet done an anchor date yet. We'll do that later. So let's do this part next, right? So let's do this part next. So great thing is we already have, this is the exact same thing, right? Duplicate. change our filters. Next, previous to date. Last day, last day, last day. And that's because I just ended it with else. But now we need to do something else, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show the header real quick on this sheet, just so I can get my stuff right. So now I'm going to change this back to when. We're building this up piece by piece. This is how I went about it when I started creating, when I originally did this. This is how I did it. I just slowly kind of built on top of each other. So, all right, so now we need to do when, next, now, future, what did we say here? Last. Okay, so this needs to be last. When last, then. Okay, there we go. All right, unshow header. When next, then. What are we going to do? We're going to say next. It's going to say next. I'm going to save space. This is the we need a parameter, but I'm just going to do this for now. We'll do this so it works. We will do plus space plus date part. I'm just going to keep it like this for now. Let's go ahead and add that in parameter here. So this is going to be last in periods. It's an integer. We'll start with 5. That looks good. So now we'll go back up here and here, right? And then we'll do, instead of this insert text, we'll do string last in periods. Had to change it to a string because you can't concatenate texts and integers. You have to cast them. You have to cast your integers and floats as strings. But the good thing is that nobody's going to enter anything less than 0 or less than 1, and everything's going to be an integer. So this works. So we'll do that, and nobody's probably going to enter more than 1,000 days. So we should be good here. So let's look at how this looks now. Oh, I need to add my plus S. Let's make sure that works. Next 5 quarters. Looking good. So now we'll do when previous, then I'm going to copy this because I like to work smarter, not harder. And this is previous. Previous 5 quarters, next 5 quarters. And then the next one, the last one, when to date, then what? Ooh, I'm going to change this to the pdate part, not the field pdate part, because that could be weird. Okay. just so we do that. All right, so this is then pdate part plus space to date. Let's make sure that works. Day to date. No. Oh yeah. Because my date part is on day. Click OK. Let's go back to our date position. Let's go back to quarter. Next 5 quarters, previous 5 quarters, quarter to date. That works. Looking good. Hopefully, if you have any questions along the way, I know you guys are not shy in doing it, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying this so far. Hopefully you're learning a lot. Haven't really done a whole lot of crazy things. We're just setting up parameter actions, right? All right, so now let's look at, now we've got, let's see. So now what we can do is we can go back to worksheet, actions, set up our PNFT on both of our sheets here. Now that's selected and none of these are selected, right? So that's how we're using one parameter actions on 2 separate sheets to bring them all together, right? Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so let's go here. Let's stay with this quarter. Now let's do our anchor date. That is a pretty simple one. That is just, we'll call this our anchor date as a date field. And yeah, we'll leave it as that. That's fine. It just defaults to whatever today's date is. Comes in as a date. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dynamic parameter. That's going to be a calculated field, and I want this to always default to the latest day in my data. So we'll call this default anchor date. And that is going to be max. This is gonna look weird. Max opened here, max of order date. Close that one. Close that curly bracket. Close that paren, close that curly bracket. Now go to anchor date. Our anchor date parameter, edit. Current value in the workbook opens, default anchor date. And you can see it updated to the correct, that's the max date in our data set. Okay, so we've got that going, everything's good. All right, now what we need to do, so that's working. Let's see, what else is next? Oh, we've got that. We did our end periods. We did our anchor date. We did this. Okay, I think we're ready to start doing some cool stuff here. Oh, the last thing we need to do, we'll do our date precision here. So that is just another parameter here, and that we'll call this date precision. And we'll do this as a string list. We'll have, so this is day, week, month, quarter, year. Now what I'm going to do, so this is the value. That is the value that Tableau stores in the parameter. The display as is what shows up in the dropdown. I'm going to change all these to be capital. I learned this great tip from recently in the Kansas City Tableau user group. Liam this past week showed me this in a presentation that he did at the KC Tug. It was amazing. I had tried to do this years ago, and Tableau wouldn't let me, so it's nice to know that Tableau updated this. You'll see what we're going to do here in a minute. You'll see what is really cool here in a minute. Okay, so really, really simple, right? Now when I show this parameter, I've got all my stuff right here, right? So the display is what shows up here, but in the background, in Tableau's background, is the lowercase of that. Okay. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to first create a. We are going to. This is called my. I'm just going to call this precision date, and it's just going to be the date trunk. I'm not going to open that. My date part is going to be the date precision parameter of whatever date we're doing, which is the order date. So Tableau finally allows you to use text from a parameter and input it as the parameters for a date function. So that used to not work, but now it does. So that's really great. So why is this good? Well, I'm going to click OK and change it to a date. Change it to continuous. Change that up to columns. And I'm going to do exact date. Right now, the date precision is on day, but watch what happens. And then I'll throw sales up there. So this is sales by day. When I change it to month, it automatically aggregates up to the precision that I've selected. This is cool stuff, right? This is awesome. So if you like this trick, give me a like on this stream. So you can use the value of a parameter to change the function of a date function, which is really cool. So, all right. So let's keep it at week, just for funsies. And I'm going to go ahead and default this. My current value is week. That way it stays like that. Okay, now, so we're showing the full date. Now, I believe it's time to, yeah. So as you can see here, Peter Kelly said he used it at a client and they loved it. It's definitely a plus with trend lines. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. When you can change your aggregation in the view, which then changes all your reference lines and all that kind of fun stuff too, this is good stuff. So, yes. Good stuff. Okay. All right. I think we're ready to start creating the date filter. So, here's what we're going to do. What we need to do. Oh, no, we're not ready. First, we need to do some truncation. So, this is, we're going to call this order trunk. No. This is going to be called, I'm just going to call this date part. Case my P date part. And this is going to go for, this part is going, we're going to do here, right? So when year, then date trunk, year of order date. And when quarter, then date trunk, quarter, order date. I'm going to copy these down. That'll be month, week, day. Month, week, day, month, week, day. Yep, date part, that's good. I need to do, and then we'll change this to a date. I'm going to do the same thing, actually. I'm going to duplicate this. And instead of date part, it's going to be the anchor part. Yep, anchor part on this, and then instead of here, it's going to be the anchor date from our parameter. Okay. Anchor part. Rename this real quick. Date part. Okay. Now, let's go back to our trend. Here we go. All right. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out how to filter out using these 3 sheets, these 2 parameter actions, how to filter the data for this, right? So let's talk about why we built everything, right? So this is basically the level of granularity of the dates that we want to look at, right? If we are looking at, so right now we have a quarter selected, so I want it to be I want to truncate all of the dates to that quarter level. All right, so quarter to date, last quarter, this quarter, so on and so forth. But then I also, to evaluate that, I also need to do that to my order dates and to my anchor date, right? So here's where the magic starts happening. And this is going to be a really large calculation. So we'll bring this up. We'll call this date filter. And it's going to be case P date part. When day, then so that takes part of one of the parameters. Case P and FTD, and then we just start building this stuff out. So when now, what does that mean? When it's now, that's when the anchor part, okay. So the reason it has that adder there is because I'm actually on the wrong sheet. So let's back out of this. Let's go to my trend chart which has this. So let's call this date filter. And now we can just remove the adder where my anchor part is equal to my date part. All right, so when it's day, so that means so when this is day, I'm going to truncate all of that because I've also selected it in my date precision, right? So when it's day, I need to compare, and when PNFT is on day, and then now I need to compare where anchor part is equal to date part. And then we just start building from there. When now, or when, not now, but when, let's do previous. Then date add at the day level, because we're on day in our first case, -1 of anchor part is equal to my date part. All right. When, and then we just keep building on this, right? So when future, so let me build in the rest of this. We'll go ahead and I'll pull in the rest of this this calculation so you guys don't have to watch me type. Okay, so let's look at this. So I did when day, then anchor part equal to date part, or when previous, we're going to subtract 1. We're going to subtract 1 unit of whatever this is. So 1 day from the anchor part, which is equal to the date part. And when we get last, oh, this is actually the, I can change that to last in periods to previous in. That. And there we go. So that's working, right? So let's just end this right now, and let's just see if we're right, right? So let's go here. Let's go to day, and we'll do last day. Yeah. Well, just to make sure, we'll do previous 5 days. Go here, and now we'll go date filter. Only select true. And oh, and the reason why you only get 1 dot is because I truncated this to the week level. Let's change our precision to the day, and hopefully we get 5 days. And we don't. Why is that? Okay. Let's see. Exact date. Precision date is day. Yeah. Precision date. Let's see here. Why is this not working? Should be. Previous 5 days is selected, so I should see 5 days here. It's only showing me the last day. Oh no, it's showing me previous. It's showing me the previous day. So that makes me think I've got something wrong here. Okay, let's go look at our date filter here. Oh. So I actually fouled this up. So this is actually last. This one is previous. Which means this one is next. This one is future. Now when we click apply, there we go. So, took a little bit of figuring out here, but what we need to do, and I think the way that I'm going to do this instead, let's go back. Is, well, it's all right. We'll figure it out. There we go. All right, so that's working, right? So now if I go here and I go to the next 5 days, so look at this. So we've got, so here's the 30th, which we know is our anchor date, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go next 5 days, what happens? It goes away. Why is that? Because there's nothing past our max date. So what do? We go here and we change our date to August 24th. And still not working. Okay. This is why we just gotta figure this date filter out. When it's next, oh, is that what it is? No, it's, so this, I had that right. So this is future. All right, yeah, this is next. I really found that up. Okay, so then I go here, click OK, and there's 4 days in the future, right? Okay. All right, let's just make sure I got this date filter thing working the way that I want it to. Next is the date add previous n. Previous is the date add of negative previous n. To date, that had better work because that is just the way it is. So now we'll go here. Let's show our header here real quick. Last, now, future. Okay, now it should be working. So now that I've built this out for one of my date periods, right? Now if I just come in here, I can add there's my week, but it's now last, future, previous. So what have we learned here? Make sure you name your things, because previous and last can be confusing, right? And now we just continue to build this out, right? And we just make sure that our date parts equal what we need to be doing. So we have month, and again, I didn't even add in hour. I don't even have hour and minute in here, but you could certainly do that if your data set had that in there. So previous or now, last. Oop. Now, last, future, and there we go. All right, now, last, future, previous. So there we go. And let's see. If you're copying this, if you're trying to type all this stuff out, don't worry about it. I'm going to be writing up a blog post, and I'll put this master, or you can just go download it, or you can just go download the workbook. That works too. Work smarter, not harder, right? Now, last, future, previous, and the last one is year. Okay, so there you go. Now, last, future, previous. Just like that. Click apply. Click OK. Now what are we going to do? Well, first let's go to date precision. Let's change it back to quarter. So we want to truncate everything to the quarter level. We'll do this quarter based on October 28th at the, and then how do we want to precision that, right? How do we want, what's our date precision? What do we want to actually, we want to show the date, the days, the weeks, the months, the years. So if we do month, we get 3 months. If we get quarter, we get 1 quarter because we've chosen to show it at the, we've chosen to show a quarter time frame, a quarter period, right? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Oh, there we go. Get rid of that. So, yeah, I think we're good here, right? So let's show it at the weekly level for this entire quarter. All right, so we're good. Now we're just ready to put it onto a dashboard. So let's do vertical. Let's do, hold on, let me check something real quick. Hopefully, oh no, you guys can still hear me, but you can't, my video is fried. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Let's see if we can't fix that here. Webcam. Properties. Hey there. What's up? Let's try this. Are we back? Nope, we're not. We are not back. Okay, well. Hey there. This is camera 2. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Not sure what's happened. I did recently change devices. I got one of the new M1 MacBook Pros, so that might be happening. But now I can just look this way. Camera 1, camera 2. Okay. Now that we're back, where are we at? Okay, we need to go ahead and build out this dashboard here. So we'll put a. Did I put 2 verticals in there already? Yeah, I think I did. Yep, don't need that. Whoop. Didn't mean to remove that one. All right, vertical container. We'll do a text field. Well, let's put in a blank. I guess our sheet could be a blank. Right there. We'll get rid of these, hide the container, delete the containers. We will add a text box for our, this is our title. 24 medium. There we go. Remove that. Okay, so what are we doing here now? Well, we are ready to add some additional stuff in here. So what we need to do is we need to create a floating box. Put it right there. Let's go here and let's add our parameters. What do we need? We need the anchor date. We need date part. Oh no, not that. We need the sheet. We need the last in, previous in. We need the, and then we need these 2 things here. Yeah, get rid of all of our legends. Get rid of our titles of our worksheets. Put that in there. Well, this is getting too big. Let's go back. Okay, so let's start with one. Let's take it one step at a time. Okay, so within this floating container, which is a vertical, we've got what? We need to add, it's a vertical container, so this one's at the top. Let's entire view that one. Then on there, we've got a horizontal, which is going to go right there. And there's going to be a blank in here. We've got that going in here. We can remove the parameter. We can remove the legends. So last, now, future. We will go to this sheet. First we'll hide our title, then we'll hide our sheet, Then we'll show our uncheck show header. Do that here too while we're here. You can kind of start to see how this is coming together, yeah? And then we have that blank container, and then we have that over here. And again, we get all this junk, so let's clear up this junk here. Right there. So now it's just a matter of just putting it all together, right? And then under that, we'll have another horizontal. I'm going to put that right here for now. I'll put that there. Take this, put it on top of that. Put in a blank there. And then we'll do here, there's one more parameter we need to add, which is our previous n. Right there, and it goes right there. So anyway, now you kind of see how it's there, right? And then you just kind of start to format it a little bit, format it how you like it, how you want it to look. One thing we'll do is we'll do this entire parameter layout, give it a white background so that we don't see any weird stuff coming through. As you can see here, I need to mess with my axis. I need to do all that, but I don't need to do all that to make sure that this is working. One last thing, we'll do our date precision out here, parameters, date precision. And I actually want that to go up here. And then we'll do, just to be real quick about it, because this is pretty much done, it's just more formatting and stuff to get it right. We'll add a button to open and close this, and right now we'll just put it right there. What we need to do is go put a dashboard horizontal in there, add that parameter here, add this button parameter here, drop the height of this one to like, what's 50 look like? That looks pretty good. Okay, but now what we can do is we can change this. What are we missing here? So now let's just see what happens. I should see. There we go. Last quarter at the week level. Quarter to date. July at the week at the week level for the quarter to date. All right, that's good. What if we change this to month? Yeah. Keep this at quarter, change this to month. There we go. So that is how we did that. Oh, yes, I said we needed to do something about all this dither, right? So all this selection. Let's show that real quick. On each of these, we need to add this 0 and 1. Oh, and then the other thing we need to create is the other thing we need to create is the sheet. So to show the date filter, right? So if we go here, we need to show this, right? So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to do create a calculated field. This is max date, max order date. This is min of order date. Keep those both as discrete, add those to text. Make this a little bigger so you can see it. All right, so that is the min and max of the entire data set, but we're not doing the entire data set. We're just doing of the date filter. So we add our date filter here, select true, 7/1 to 8/24. And then you can do some formatting. So min up here to 2, just like that. Back on our dashboard, we can add this new sheet here. Move that there. Hide that. Make it entire view. There we go. So we've got that. Okay, so now let's talk about how we get rid of the dither. So we need to go to Dashboard, Actions. And this is where things get real tricky. So we're going to do a filter action. From the dashboard, the date precision, which is our, it's getting confusing because I've named things really poorly. And so let's just start with this one. We'll do this one and then I'll show you the rest. So date precision. Target sheet is not going to be the target sheet on the dashboard. It's going to be the actual sheet in the workbook. I know it sounds silly, but we're going to change this to select and we're going to show all values. But then we need to go to selected values and what target field, source field, and target field. Essentially what this is doing is I want you to Tableau, when I click on something, I want you to filter where 0 equals 1. And where does 0 equal 1? Never. So, as such, Tableau has no marks to select. And now, when we select month, we don't get that selection, right? Which is pretty cool. So then you would just duplicate that same action set type to each of your stuff like that. Now, what's interesting is that we've layered 2 actions on this click, right? We have an action for the parameter action. I forgot my camera. We have a action on the parameter happening at the same time, and we have a filter action doing the deselection. Right? So that's the power of select interactivity, is you can layer on multiple things happening at the same time. So that's cool. All right. So that's it. May just do some cleanup and some formatting. But the big one is this was the big one, right? This date filter. So that's how we used all of those different parameters together to create a single Boolean filter to do all of that. All right. So hopefully that was nope, not here. Webcam properties. Got to change my stuff here. Nope. There we go. Hey there. So hopefully this was helpful. I apologize for the camera technical difficulties there. I'll get this figured out, and then we'll go from there. But appreciate the time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It was a little bit longer than our normal sessions, but I thought it was good. And we learned a lot about parameter actions and dynamic parameters and case statements and how you can create a relative date filter. A dynamic relative date filter. So, pretty cool stuff. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Programming note, I will not be doing one next week. I'm taking a vacation. It's going to be a good time. So we won't have a live stream next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. So, have a wonderful time. Oh, I forgot to mention, Tableau Ambassador nominations just opened yesterday, so please check it out. If you are interested, if you know of anyone who would be a good ambassador of Tableau, please nominate them. If you would like to be an ambassador, nominate yourself. Please do it. There is no shame. You are the one that knows yourself the best. Promote yourself. Tell people what you're worth. Tell people your value. It's a good way to get your name in recognition. So do that. You've got until the 21st to nominate ambassadors. It'll be a good time. So Thanks so much. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Go forth and viz.